So I find a lot of the time with the mindset, we look at ourselves as we're not good enough. And it's not that you're not good enough. You already have the learning capabilities in your brain. You already are good enough. You just might lack some information, lack some skills, lack some repetition. Repetition is the master of any skill. The more you can do it, the more calls you can book, the more marketing I can do, the more the client journey process I can do.
Hello, and welcome to the Shift Your Day Job podcast. I'm Brittany Cates, your host on this incredible journey of career transformation. Get ready for inspiring stories, valuable insights, and a roadmap to shift your mindset towards a more fulfilling professional life. In each episode, we explore the remarkable journeys of individuals who made a career change, offering motivation, strategies, and the confidence to pursue your dreams. Whether you're feeling stuck, contemplating a change, or just seeking a dose of inspiration, this podcast is your weekly companion. Tune in every Thursday as we uncover the secrets to shifting your day job. Hello and welcome to another amazing episode of the Shift Your Day Job podcast. I'm your host, Brittany Cates, and I am excited to introduce you to today's guest. Her name is Leah Mitchell, and she is a successful dating coach. Leah shares how she studied philosophy and criminology in school and then went on to work in the mental health profession before deciding to become an entrepreneur. And in this episode, Leah highlights the importance of shifting from a not good enough mindset to recognizing and embracing your capabilities. She dives into how repetition, skill acquisition, and overcoming failure are key to success, both in career transitions and personal growth. Using her dating expertise and knowledge, she explores the impact of feminine and masculine energies in not only our relationships, but also in our careers. And she also shares how she handled the challenges that came up for her as she navigated an entrepreneurial path. Now, without further ado, please welcome Leah Mitchell to the podcast.
Hi, Leah. Welcome to the Shift Your Day Job podcast. How are you today? I am great. Thank you so much for having me. Thank you for being here. I'm excited to chat with you because you are a dating coach, and I love that it's not really just about dating, it's about the psychology behind dating and feminine and masculine energy and how that affects like all facets of your life. And today we're going to focus a little bit on career and how those things play into it. But before we jump into that, do you mind sharing a little bit about your career journey and how you like transitioned into this role and what you're doing today? Yeah, absolutely. So basically, I didn't realize that I am a businesswoman until I became a businesswoman. I graduated university with a philosophy degree and criminology degree. So really nothing to do with, and I used to get made fun of with the philosophy degree. Oh, what's that going to get you? The typical like things that, people from a different generation love to say. And they have a great point. What are you going to do? Philosophy degree. But what I realized is likely there's a high chance that what you go to school for, it's really not going to be that significant in your ability to be successful and find a career. Of course, if you want to be a paramedic, you have to go to school to be a paramedic. That's very important. But when there's the entrepreneurial world out there for you to find your position, I find that what I did go to school for really just helped me learn how to work hard and get things done and have a decent amount of self-belief. So when I got out of school, I went into the mental health industry because I really wanted to help people. And the thing that was the most challenging for me was that I wanted to make more money than I was going to make in the mental health industry based on the positions available. And the goal was to really help people and change people's lives. And I felt very barricaded by the system, by the methods of operation, by policy and politics. And I was the kind of person that would get pulled into a work office and be like, "You are not being nice enough to so and so," because I was like, "These kids need help." Like, I was a child therapist in like group homes with kids that were typically convicted of crimes and things like that. And so I was very like, "These kids need help. This is how we need to help them. Let's get this done." And with the turnover rates and everything, this became very frustrating. I grew up in a household where you don't worry too much about people's feelings, but just about how to get the job done. And this attitude does not work well in the mental health industry with coworkers and with a boss. And so I'm going to be honest, I don't like having a boss. And I know that if I wanna help people in the capacity and change their lives in the way that I want to, I'm gonna have to figure out how to be my own boss. Now, this came with it actually ending up being a much harder job than I ever expected, running your own business. There are crazy things that you run into that you don't think are possible, and then it happens, and then it's like, "Holy crap." But there's also those moments where, like, you're still in bed in the morning on a phone call with someone and you make a bunch of money and you didn't even put your clothes on yet. So it's like the endless possibilities of helping people and finding your people and building your community and really seeing yourself flourish in the way that you think, like in your zone of genius, basically. And your zone of genius is without a cap when you are an entrepreneur, and I think that's beautiful. And so that's why I went out of mental health and into the industry that I'm in now. And truly, I started out as a confidence coach because that's something that I had that I wanted to help people with. And what I noticed is that all of my clients are talking about relationships and getting into beautiful relationships while working with me. And so I was like, there's got to be something here, right? There's got to be something powerful here. And that really took me into the niche that I'm in. And of course, my husband's a huge part of why I'm in the niche that I'm in, because I really do believe that every woman deserves to have the kind of support and relationship that I have. And I want to help them get there. So it's coming from a very soul generated purpose. And I feel like that is a massive requirement in running your own business and being an entrepreneur.
Yeah. I love that you started on one path and you took the feedback that you're getting and the data from the people you were meeting with, and it really guided you to something more niche down, more specific. And but that was still aligned with helping people and helping with the confidence piece, right? And I also think it's super interesting that your degrees are very related to what you're doing, and yet maybe you couldn't actually find that out in, like, the workforce. You've created it for yourself when people are like, "What are you gonna do with that degree?" And you figured it out by taking aligned action for what really feels good and like a passion project for you, so that's awesome.
Yeah, I love that you said aligned action because honestly, like we're definitely going to get into that action topic today, but this is something I'm so big in. And I am a very spiritual person. Like I'm all into my methods of working with the brain and the universe and all these things. And I love strategy. But there's a huge part of me that also loves messy action. The only way that I got to being good at marketing, being good at sales was writing crap content and also bombing on sales calls over and over. And I think that messy action, the biggest thing that you get out of that is overcoming failure being failure. Like it's just information. And I think that's also what helped me in philosophy was you are going to be ripped apart after you write this essay that took you 14 days to write on like just diet Pepsi and Cheetos and just trying to get through this essay because it means so much. And then your professor goes, nope, I don't like this. I don't like this. I don't like this. And this doesn't even make any sense. Why is this even in here? Nobody cares. And it's, oh, so I needed that in order to then write the next essay, give it to him and say, okay, tell me exactly what I'm doing wrong. And That's what's really helped me with entrepreneurship is like being ready. Please tell me if I'm wrong, because then I can get a little bit closer to doing it right and helping people and closing clients and making income that like helps sustain my business.
Yeah. And it's interesting. I was talking to a client this morning and she was talking about how she needs to enjoy the journey more and unlearn how she was taught to learn, right? Because in school, it's right or wrong. You did a good job or you didn't. And kids at school being like, oh, I have to get it right. Otherwise, why am I bothering? And so as adults, we're like unraveling all these things that we learned as children and be like, wait a second, like failure teaches me something. How can I take this and grow from it rather than shrink?
No, absolutely. I think that when we consider that every time we do something wrong, like with quotes around it, wrong, in reality, we're just getting closer to nailing it. And if I can do something wrong faster, I'm going to get there to doing it right sooner. And that is you gotta put your ego at the door sometimes, especially when you're on social media, because you're going to compare yourself just like you did in school to the kids getting the A's when you're getting the B's, or the kids that run faster than you, or the kids that get picked by the boys first. It all matters when you're that young, but I think the reason why it matters when you're that young is because you also have to realize when you are looking through Facebook and you are looking at people and how much income they're making, because this is very broadcasted now, or you're on Instagram and you're seeing the highlight reel of someone's life, you have to remember that there's a process to getting there and no one is showing. Like some people are, and those are the people I love to work with. But there's a lot of people that aren't showing the trust of the process that needs to be in place. And I think that's why so many people end up quitting is because they think it means something about them if they don't see success in X amount of time, because in X amount of time, this person did, and this person did, and this person did. So maybe it's not meant for me. Maybe it's not right for me. If you can push past that, and I hate saying grind and hustle, but I would be lying, bold-faced lying, if I didn't say I grind and hustle. I do. But I love it because it's something that I'm really passionate about. If I can become more of a genius in this area, I can help people more. And so getting over that, well, if it was meant to be, it would have happened by now, and actually just being like, maybe I'm missing something. Maybe I need to go into a different industry, but maybe the problem wasn't the industry in the first place, but how I was approaching it. You know what I mean? There's so many levels to that process that you have to build the trust in yourself that it is going to happen for you before taking failing as information that you can't do it.
Yeah, I love that reminder. And there were a lot of things going on in my mind as you were talking. Just this idea of not quitting, right? Because as human beings, we always think it has to happen a certain way, it has to look like this, the time frame has to be that. And if it doesn't look that exactly that way, we have a hard time seeing the growth and the progress that has happened despite it us not getting to the end goal. And it's like, how do we accept that? Like, my journey doesn't look like your journey. And that's okay because there is really no like right and wrong. It's, am I better than I was yesterday? Am I moving forward? Am I getting closer to that clarity of what it is that I want to do? And as you take that aligned action, that's how the clarity comes. And so it's just really important to keep going because once you stop, then you're not going to progress anymore. You're not going to figure it out anymore. So,
Yeah. You said something really interesting that made me think of the way he said this earlier about childhood. So something that comes to mind for me is if we think of like the Cinderella story or almost any other like Kung Fu Panda, all the other hero stories, the hero's journey, they get knocked down once and then they finally make it, okay? And there's this process of they were the underdog and then they won. But that's where it stops. That's happily ever after and it's over because of this thing of if this person just keeps successing, that's not interesting. We don't want to see Cinderella just keep making more money and keep having more love and keep all this stuff because it's not interesting. And a lot of people, it's really hard to watch someone win and win and win anyways because it makes us feel different ways about ourselves. But it's interesting that those stories stopped there because it's funny, once you become Cinderella, those bumps in the road are way bigger the next time and then way bigger the next time. It's like, I think something that entrepreneurs deal with, people even owning construction companies, building houses, all those things. Sometimes clients don't pay you. If a client doesn't pay you for a $3,000 package, that's going to hurt really bad when you are charging $3,000 packages. But that almost has to happen for when you start charging $40,000 packages and that client doesn't pay you, or that client wants their money back, right? You almost have to the problems get bigger, but you're more prepared. And I think these fairy tales and stuff, they really don't give us that depiction. It's this blue pill thing of when Cinderella gets this one thing, then everything comes together and it's all perfect. But this gimmick and this blue pill syndrome that we can have, it's a marketing technique. First of all, it's if you buy this one skincare, then this man will just walk into your life because you have this glowing skin. It's just not reality. But that's how we buy things. And so I think it's really programmed us, even from being children and watching Disney to now buying products and all those things. It always comes down to, and people think about this even in their job. Once I get that one job, then I'll be successful. And then all my problems will go away. And it's no, sometimes your problems get even bigger, but you get better at dealing with them. You're more prepared.
Yeah, it comes back to that trusting yourself piece, right? Okay, I did XYZ to get here and I can do, ABC to keep going or to make it through this tough spot, and trusting that you are prepared for whatever comes your way because of all of the hustle and grind and work that you did previous to get where you are. And it also makes you think of relationships, right? When people are like, oh, if you just got married, then it's happily ever after. And no, like maybe when you're younger, you might think that. But as you become maybe more self-aware and you see what life is really all about, you're like, actually, I understand that it's going to come with challenges and it's not going to be sunshine and roses every day, but I still want it. And it's the same thing with a career. Like, one of the things that really drives me crazy is when people are like, if I change my career, that doesn't mean that the grass will be greener, or like a job is still a job. But and I'm like, yes, like you can have all these things on this list that are like way better. Like your life has been improved in all these ways. And yeah, there's still going to be some lingering challenges, but at least you have a better work-life balance. At least you're making more money. At least you're happier. That's better than what you've got. Like, how can you tell me it's not? So, yeah,
Yeah.
really good.
And I feel like people have choice, and a lot of the time it doesn't feel that way. And there are definitely harder lives that make choice seem a lot less in your control. And we've all been there where there's that moment where you do feel like this is the only option for me. And I think that's typically a lot of fear as well. But when I consider, a huge problem that I see for a lot of women is they do have a decent job, but they really want to become an entrepreneur. They really want to become a coach or go into that area. And for example, for married women, I know some even relationship coaches that want to go full time, but their husband actually doesn't agree. And it feels like a lack of support. And there's possibilities that there are relationships where your husband doesn't support you. And that is really unfortunate. But there's also ones where he doesn't see you showing up in your business in a way where he can trust that totally quitting your job where you're making 60, 70, 80, maybe six figures, that's a huge jump. And so for him to feel super confident in you doing that, if you're showing up like a badass and you are getting things done and you are doing whatever it takes to close clients and you are always researching and really showing up, he's not going to say no. he's going to be like, yeah, absolutely. Let's do it. I'm so excited to see you in this light. But if he sees you go back and forth from not knowing if it's right for you and showing up and then taking a month off and then showing up and struggling with the process and not trusting the process and getting down to work, I find I do see partners not trust their partner that wants to become an entrepreneur to fully quit and go forward. And I think that when women can really figure out exactly what they want to do and then put all of their energy into that, this is where you do get that support because you have to trust and own it yourself that you're going to be super successful in this area in order for all the other people around you to see that for you too. We even talked about this. Like, I wanted to become a coach, and my parents kept sending me job ads to become a teacher. And they wanted that safety for me, right? They wanted that security and they didn't understand. But once they saw me really putting my nose to the ground and grinding and really seeing results and making sales, they've never sent me a job ad since. Right? So I think that's an important thing to point out is people do support you around you, but a lot of the time they really want you to be safe and they don't want to see you fail because they're afraid of failure as well, right? And so sometimes it's showing that regardless of the failures, you are going to be successful where everybody else now can get behind you.
Yeah. It's building that confidence in yourself and using the skills that you've acquired over time to say, no, I can do this and I'm going to make it happen. And it's not a matter of if, it's a matter of when. And yeah, the support is definitely a big piece of any kind of career shift, especially entrepreneurship, because it's like the great unknown, right? But to have that support and then from at least your husband or someone that's really there for you, and then you're proving to those other naysayers, look what I did. Like I felt that way with when I changed my career and I had, like my aunt said, I really I'm so, like, surprised and shocked that it actually worked out. I'm like, "Really?" Because I knew it was going to. You just have to know that in yourself. You have to trust yourself, and so can you, like, talk a little bit about, like, the mindset work or any kind of tools that people can use to start building that confidence and to so that they can really believe and start making it happen for them?
Yeah. So it's interesting. I actually just got off a call with a woman who wants to start making more money as a real estate agent and is actually considering that it's not for her because it hasn't happened for her yet. And I wanted to stop her right there and just say, you know what? Like the people that don't push past that are the people that don't end up seeing success. You have to push past the slow part. You absolutely have to. And there's a few things that have really helped me. So I got caught in the comparison when I started, how fast I'm supposed to be successful, and the blue pill syndrome, which led me to investing $33,000 in my first year in coaches and mentors. And I'm going to say half of that was not needed. They were bad investments, but what I was sold on was if I buy this one thing, if I work with this one person, then everything will change. And this energy that I had, like this kind of mindset, was working against me because what happened every time I tried something new and it didn't work, then I felt like I was failing. Instead of this is actually just the process. And when I could lean back and look at my business as so there are mindset problems, there are marketing problems, and there are sales problems. And then there are the problems of not getting your clients resolved. From the beginning, I've been able to get my clients resolved. And I knew that's why I'm supposed to be doing what I'm doing because clearly I'm good at the job itself. But there's other aspects where it's not that I am having to become a different person or abandon myself in some way in order to learn sales and marketing. It's simply a skill set that I don't have yet. And in every other job, if you were to start a job at a restaurant and you have never been a waitress before, so I was a waitress and a bartender for 10 years. And if you don't know how to serve, you actually have to learn that skill. When you build your own business, you have to learn the skill of all the different hats you're going to have to wear. And so this took me realizing I had a marketing issue and fixing my marketing, learning how to market what I'm doing in a way that makes people understand the value of what I'm selling so that I can then work with them and help them and change their lives. And then sales. Okay, my marketing is now bringing me wonderful people, but on this call, I'm not showing up with the confidence that I have the absolute best program for them that I know is going to change their lives. So now I'm bombing. Now I'm not even pitching. Now I'm disqualifying people before I even know because of my fear of being rejected. Okay, so now I have a mindset thing to work on, but also a skill thing to work on. So what did I do? I went and learned sales as much as I possibly could because I knew for a woman like me, I'm fairly logical. If I can train my brain to know exactly what to do no matter what that person tells me, I'm going to go in that call with confidence. And then guess what? Now my fear of rejection is gone because I know that they're not rejecting me. They're rejecting my method to selling on that call. It's not personal. It actually has nothing to do with me as a person. I'm still getting my clients beautiful relationships with beautiful men and changing their lives. So it's not about me and my skills. It's about how did I show up on that call? And there's almost like a self-criticism with grace because yes, I could have communicated the value better. So this tells me I have more to learn, which is good information to have because now I can go learn it. Information and learning is very accessible, right? So we can just go learn, get better, become a master, make more money, help more people. So I find a lot of the time with the mindset, we look at ourselves as we're not good enough. And it's not that you're not good enough. You already have the learning capabilities in your brain. You already are good enough. You just might lack some information, lack some skills, lack some repetition. Repetition is the master of any skill. The more you can do it, the more calls you can book, the more marketing I can do, the more the client journey process I can do. When I started using contracts, I was terrified. Oh, that's when people won't want to work with me. But then I realized all I need to do is learn how to communicate how important a contract is so that everything that we just talked about on this call, you're getting guaranteed when you sign up with me and I have to have those deliverables. And then they feel like, oh, great. So contract is saving their butts as well. Right. And so it's like the skill set, the fear can be there, the mindset, it can feel like a mindset problem. But sometimes if you just focus on learning new skills, getting better at writing that essay, getting better at the things like you did in school, getting better at doing your times table as a kid. It wasn't that you're stupid. It's just that you don't know your times table yet. Sometimes we actually have to approach career with that mindset. I'm not a bad person. I'm not bad at this, but I could be a lot better. So I'm going to put my energy into being better. That mindset has helped me so much with entrepreneurship. I look for challenges now so that I can just overcome it and then be better for my clients and my business.
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
Yeah. No, I love that because most people are like, challenges. Ugh. But it's like you get to a point where you're like, it just makes you think of how people get to a point in their career where they're like bored and they're like, I need a challenge. That's what it is. Like, I need a challenge because I know I can do more. I know I can learn more and try something new. And yeah, so I love that idea of can we reframe it? Let's look for the challenge and see how we can tackle it head on rather than, again, retracting from it or like trying to get rid of it. Because, like you said, the faster you learn or fail, the faster you get to where it is you really want to go.
And the failures don't get less frequent, they get more frequent, I feel like. So then you're faced with having to get better at them. And with all this being said, and like everything I've said before, this doesn't mean that all of a sudden now I'm this invincible person to failure. Okay. Not at all. I still will be like, I'll get off a sales call and be like, I really could have helped that person. And I just feel like I bombed it. And then I think I'm okay. And then a day later, I'm overwhelmed easily and I'm struggling to get anything done. And I call my husband and I start crying and he goes, okay, what's this really about? And I go, I feel like I bombed that the other day and it's still bothering me. And so then what do? I go back to the drawing board. I go back over that call in my head so that I know when someone brings up that objection or that problem, I'm going to be able to handle it. But also, you're never going to close every sale. You're never going to help every client. And that's actually not a you problem. And it's not a them problem. It's a numbers game sometimes.
Mhm.
And it's things happen to people in their lives where potentially they come into your program. Yeah, I'm going to do everything I can and show up. And then things change and things don't happen, or some people learn at a different pace. And you actually have to not take any of that as a representation of yourself, but rather get better at helping people and their different struggles and their different challenges. And everything ends up being more like a lesson than something that you've done wrong. You know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah. The checking your ego at the door and not taking it personally, allowing yourself to be human and giving yourself grace in the process of learning and growing and trying new things. Can you talk a little bit about letting go of the outcome? Because that's something that I've learned a lot about from you. And I just think it's such an important concept for people to start like being aware of, because I think, like we talked about with social media, for instance, we only see the end outcome of what somebody has done. We don't see the process. And that can be really discouraging for us as human beings because everything we do, it has to end this way. Like, I have to get this out of it. But how can we start letting that go so that we can be a bit more open to possibilities?
Yeah. So I'm going to explain this in two ways. I'll go with relationship and in business because I think it's good to see this like personal life versus business life as well. It helps. So, let's go with dating. When you start dating, you have to be detached from the outcome because if you go on to every date, is this the one? You're either gonna settle on men because you're trying to make it the one, or you're gonna have scarcity mindset that he's the only one. So you're gonna stay with them too long. You're not gonna have those clear vision goggles of, do I like this person? Am I enjoying myself on this date? You're gonna be looking at this is the potential path to me getting married and having kids. And he's also gonna feel that pressure. And then there's going to be issues, and he's either gonna run away or you're gonna settle on the wrong person. And so having this detached energy of, regardless, this is my favorite word ever, regardless. So regardless of what happens on this date, I know that I am going to have the life of my dreams. Regardless of this match on this dating app, I am going to end up meeting the perfect man for me. Regardless of this, I can't think of one more thing, but okay, so then a little more into the context of in a relationship, the energy that you take into an argument. So, regardless of how this argument goes, I know that we're going to still be together after. And that means that I'm going to take the energy into this argument of, I love you and I want to figure this out rather than, am I right or wrong? And then if you think of it in terms of business, I'm gonna go into this sales call and I know I'm gonna be a successful entrepreneur regardless of if I close on this call, but I'm gonna give it my best shot. Because if you go in so attached to the date, attached to the argument, attached to the sales call, when it doesn't go your way, you're going to get closer to quitting or quit right on the spot. You're gonna get discouraged, and that's actually gonna prolong your time of figuring out what could have gone better and then improving, right? If we go into this conversation as husband and wife of, we love each other, let's sort this out because we're going to stay together and what we say to each other matters versus I need to prove to you that I'm right and you're wrong, it's a totally different outcome. One is successful, one is caught on playing games. The In business, it's if you go into that sales call, you get a yes or a no, you're going to take information from that call and you use it to make yourself better. Whereas if you go in, this call determines my success as a person and tells me something about myself, you are going to feel so exhausted and drained and helpless and out of control. And I think that's being attached to the outcome makes you feel like you don't have control. Whereas when you realize, like, none of this determines my success, this whole year in my business doesn't determine my success. Does that mean that I'm going to still give it my all? Absolutely. But it's okay if I make mistakes. It's okay if I focus too much on building my website and realize my website actually doesn't generate any income. It's all about all the other stuff. Like, it's okay to make those hiccups and realize that's part of the process, trusting the process. But being detached from the outcome allows you to not be so hard on yourself and also have the energy of the authentic side of yourself going into things. Because the reason why we feel like we need to find this man on the first date or we need to close every sales call is outside energy. It's someone who's told us that if we're single, we aren't as good as people that are in marriages, or where there's something dislikable about us, if that's a word. And in the same way, it's if you don't close this sales call, then you're not successful. Or if you don't make a certain amount of money by this age, then you're not successful. I think these are like outside of us. This isn't how we actually feel about ourselves. So if you can show up authentically and be fully detached from the outcome, knowing it means nothing about you how this goes, that is like really powerful energy.
Yeah, I love that. Thank you for sharing. And I think those are all really great, relatable examples for everybody that to really think about and start unraveling maybe a bit of, okay, what is it that is like, where am I attached to the outcome and how can I like take a step back from that and see how that feels? Yeah, because there's a lot of noise around us and we have to decide, okay, what am I taking in and what am I leaving? And I'm taking it in because I resonate with it. I believe it versus, oh, that's just extra noise. You can think that, but I'm not going to let it dictate my choices right now. So,
Mhm. Mhm. Yeah, and I feel like people get so attached to the outcome of the time frame. Like, I thought when I finally reach my first 10K month, then everything will be easy in my business. But turns out that I reached my 10K month in and I actually that month I made 17 and my Stripe account closed and took all my money. Oh, I finally reached my 10K. Now all my problems will be gone. Sight
yeah.
your problems than you've ever had before, and a processor's gonna steal all your money. Like, it was crazy and stressful, and I cried so much, and I was so heartbroken, and I felt so out of control. And then I had to do a I had to level up. I had to get my credit checked. I had to do all of these different, like, banking processes and this waiting game and these interviews and these applications to get signed on a processor who's never going to block my business out of automation reasons or failed payments. They're going to work with me. I have a personalized account executive. This is going to serve my business better for the rest of my life than Stripe ever could have.
Yeah.
But it had to take that happening to me in order for me to go and realize, okay, I need people signing contracts in case this stuff happens in the future. I need insurance. I need a better processor. Maybe I need 2 and be paying for that and taking that as an expense in my business because now it's manageable growth, right?
Yeah.
Manageable growth will knock you down consistently if you're not smart about where you're at in your business. And guess what? When you make the jump, you're not going to be up to speed. You're not. So then you also have to make some mistakes in order to realize, okay, I actually have to be up to speed now in a different way. No?
Yeah, definitely. Well, Leah, thank you so much for your time. I always enjoy chatting with you, and I just feel like you're a wealth of knowledge, and I get a lot of aha moments from you. So I am really excited to share your expertise with my audience. If anybody is interested in working with you, can you give listeners some more information about how to get in touch or what programs you might have to offer?
Yeah, so absolutely. Right now, I so basically how I'd love for you to see me is I'm a matchmaking love coach and I help single women attract their dream relationship with very healthy, masculine, beautiful men. And I also have started to dabble in the specific matchmaking services with men. And I take on very private clients in that space. So that's actually not very much on my page or anything, but that's something that I've started to do. Now, you can get in touch with me through my Facebook. I would say that is the best avenue. And I can leave a link for that. One thing I did want to share, I am starting something called the Cupid Currency Academy with a beautiful partner of mine. And she is a sales strategist, and I am an entrepreneur. And together, what we're doing is we are helping women really dive into the relationship niche and help others either overcome a relationship, overcome past relationship loss, attract the right men, maybe help them in their relationship, in the relationship and love niche. There are so many different places you can go. You don't have to be someone in this perfect successful marriage in order to help someone overcome a breakup. If you've been through a breakup and you overcame it, that's something you can help people in. And so basically what I've realized is there's way too many clients struggling out there with love and relationships and not enough service providers and coaches. And so the Cupid Currency Academy is us helping you build your business from the ground up for success. And I'm basically going to give you every mistake that I made so that you don't make it. You will save yourself $33,000 in investments. And we are going to give it to you right straight up exactly how you can start doing this and making money and changing people's lives because love, everybody wants to be in love. And it's such a powerful place to work, such meaningful work. So if you're looking for that in your life, please reach out to me and just message me, DM me Cupid Currency, and we will hop on a call and see if that's right for you.
Awesome. You're helping entrepreneurs start their own dating and relationship coaching service.
Yes.
Essentially.
Yes. And even if you're not an entrepreneur yet, if you are in nursing, if you're in some kind of service or whatever you want to start a business, maybe before you jump in and go full time, you want to see if you can make some money. This is the perfect place for you to come because you definitely have expertise in relationships if you've been in them before. And if you've struggled in those and overcome something, that's basically what we're going to teach you how to take your skills that you already have and market them and sell them and help people.
I love it. Awesome. Thank you for sharing. And yeah, I will provide the links in the show notes for people to get in touch with you. But again, thanks so much for being here. It was a pleasure.
Thank you for having me. I love this conversation so much.
Thank you so much for tuning in today, and a huge thank you to our guest for sharing such valuable insights. If you enjoyed this episode, please take a moment to leave a review. Your feedback helps others discover the podcast, and it means the world to me as I continue to bring you content that supports your career change journey. If today's conversation resonated with you and you're feeling stuck in a career that doesn't fulfill you anymore, I'm here to help. My one-on-one career coaching program is designed specifically for women who are ready to break free from the grind and discover a career that truly excites them. In our sessions, we'll uncover what's holding you back, identify your true passions, and create a clear, actionable plan to transition you into a career that aligns with your deepest values. You can get in touch with me directly at shiftyourdayjob@gmail.com, or you can connect with me on social media at shiftyourdayjob. I'd love to hear from you and support you on this journey. Until next time, I'm your host, Brittany Cates, and together, let's shift your day job.